obviously just going back to you were talking about your father a little bit. He's been in the headlines a lot about the Jake Paul training Jake Paul just because it's such a like a big event in terms of the combat sports world. People know Nate Diaz, they know guys like
Of
Jake
course.
Paul. How did that, if you know anything, obviously, how did that kind of come about? It was kind of, I understand that Jake worked with your father previously, but they kind of got back together and now it's a thing again. So what can you kind of tell us about that?
To my knowledge, my father's kind of assisting in training. I think he's like an assistant coach, rather than kind of like a main coach.
Oh,
I
okay.
think, uh, I think he has a main coach in one of his videos of him hitting mitts. There was like a shorter black guy that
Okay.
was there. I don't know his name, but I believe he's his coach. From my understanding, he's from that like Michigan
Okay.
area,
Hmm.
and so um, he's the one that's kind of head coaching my dad. To my knowledge, is advising, um, and just giving his assistance where needed.
Hmm.
And obviously that's always a good thing. I love having my father kind of do the same, advise me and give me his input where he feels like I need help and stuff like that. And it's always great, especially when you're going into big fights like how Jake is, to have somebody that's been in big fights like that and
Right.
understands the the landscape and how to handle those things. And sometimes confidence is borrowed. So if you have
Mhm.
somebody that has a lot of confidence in those areas, you can kind of borrow that confidence, just them being around. So
Mhm.
I think that's a pretty cool thing to have, if you're Jake Paul, if you can essentially afford to have somebody like that there. Why not?
Yeah. What do you kind of think about that stuff like the about how YouTubers and people from, the internet are slowly making that transition? Obviously I've checked out your Instagram, you make, content yourself. How do you kind of look at that as a actual boxer and kind of say these guys they have it comfortable, they're outside doing their thing in the YouTube world and they want to, make a transition into this sport where, at the end of the day you're getting hit in the head. So what do you kind of think about that?
I think we both need to take from each other.
Mhm.
Um, we need to you know boxers shouldn't look at these things as they're taking from me.
Right.
Don't be selfish,
Mhm.
right? How can I learn, because these people have a platform, right? YouTubers, people like that, they found a way to people for people to watch them.
Mhm.
And if somebody is jealous, it's because they're not taking advantage of the knowledge. They're not
Right.
utilizing what these people have created, or ask them, how can I do this? How can I figure this out as well? So I think that we should take from them and be able to, um, learn that skill. Now, for them, I love that they're learning how uh, to defend themselves, to learn the skill of fighting. It's a very, very um, great thing. I think every, especially man, should be able to at least feel confident enough to defend himself,
Yeah.
or willing to fight. I think
Mhm.
that that's great, because if you have a man that's not, at least willing to fight for something, he's he's gonna find areas that he's gonna unleash that aggression, right?
Yeah.
So it might as well be in a positive way, and being able to hone that skill and being able to craft that, and finding love in that, because everybody has animosity or anger, or all of these feelings of wanting to hurt somebody. I don't know that when you're in the car driving, you mother beep beep
Yeah. Road rage.
beep, get out the car. But if you
Yeah.
have if you have that skill and you're training and you understand that, this guy doesn't look like a fighter, but I've seen him in the gym. He knows how to
Mhm.
fight.
Right.
You're gonna see like, hey, this guy may not know, like, he may not look like a fighter, but I've seen other guys that look like him and they can really fight.
Right.
I teach at an MMA gym called Syndicate MMA here in Las Vegas, And
Hmm.
you see all kind of guys that walk through there. You see guys that are, that are lawyers, accountants, plumbers,
Yeah.
and they get in there and they're rolling with people. And you're like, man, that guy would put me in a pretzel.
Yeah.
And so when you see that skill, and it could literally be anybody,
Hmm.
you then have more respect for people. Like, I'm not going to get out of line because I don't know what this guy got. I
Right.
don't know. I'm not sure what he's capable of. Yes, I'm confident enough to handle myself to a certain degree, but I'm also not going to pop off because I have that respect now for people in the sport and fighting.
Hmm.
So I think that it's a great thing. I think that people are getting out there, putting shining light on my sport that I love. It's given me literally everything. Um, I'm proud that people want to be a part of my sport, as long as they're putting respect and training like they need to, and they're not disrespecting people. They're not doing stuff out of character, keeping the integrity of the sport. I think that's great. I think that shining light on my sport is great. Of course, you know they all have their leagues and where they are, and if they want to take that step up, of course, as long as you put in respect, as long as you're showing light and letting people know that, like, you know you can progress forward and become something great. I mean, my dad tells me how hard Jake works. He's
Yeah.
like, man, all he does is train. And
Hmm.
he said, because of this work ethic, he's like, I don't see, like, I could possibly see him being world champion because he puts in the work. And it's because my father sees that real recognizes real, right?
Hmm.
If you see somebody putting in the effort and they have the right people around them, why can't they be? And you can't say that, oh, because he's fighting YouTubers or he's fighting
Right.
MMA fighters. You know how many boxers have fought MMA fighters? I know a whole bunch. I've actually fought MMA fighters
Yeah.
before that were professional boxers.
Hmm.
But if you sign the thing, you put it in the work, and yeah, you might have had an MMA fight or whatever like that. So I mean, shoot, I'm sure Julio Cesar Chavez has fought a cab driver.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, so it's like, he's only fighting this guy. Yeah, for now.
Hmm.
But if he progresses forward and continues on and fights real boxers, he fought Tommy Fury, who's a real boxer. You know what I mean? Yes, he lost, but at least he got in there and did his thing.
Yeah.
Anybody that has hate towards it is just a hater. You know what I mean? Like, you just want to be hateful for no reason. The dude is a real boxer, but Jake Paul is a legitimate boxer, and he deserves that respect because he's earned it. Yes, he's only fighting MMA fighters for now,
Hmm.
but in my opinion, it's genius. Why not fight somebody that's willing to do it? If they're willing to be a
Yeah.
professional boxer, you're fighting them, and they have platforms, and they were legends in their own thing, and you still fight them and beat them. You deserve all their respect. And yes, you may get more recognition than most boxers, but that's because they didn't have that opportunity. I guarantee you, any fighter that would be willing to that could fight Tyron Woodley or Ben Askren or Nate Diaz would jump at the opportunity. There's
Right.
not a boxer out there, I guarantee you, that if they would be lined up with any of those guys that Jay fought, wouldn't fight them. Oh, because they're not real boxers. The hell out of here, bro. Like, stop. Don't front, because how much money you can make, and you can
Yeah.
say, I beat a legend like Tyron Woodley. He has a knockout over Tyron Woodley, who's one of the best middle welterweights of all time.
It's true.
Bruh, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And you can't say, oh, well, he wasn't a boxer. He's literally been kicked in the head before and not been knocked out like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe he's a little past it or whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, he got that. Like, shit, if I had the opportunity to fight Tyron Woodley and get a knockout like that,
Yeah.
would I take it? Absolutely. I love Tyron. I think he's a great dude. I know him personally. But if we can fight and get money, and I can, and we can help each other out, we're fighters. You know what I mean? And what do fighters love? butts and seats, because butts and seats means dollars, and
Mhm.
dollars means you could provide for your family. All this other stuff about, oh, they're YouTubers and all that stuff, you just hate, bro. And with that being said, I think fighters should find a way to make something of themselves, and maybe have channels or whatever the case is. Find ways that you can drive butts to seats and get people to you, because then you wouldn't be hated.
Yeah. I'd agree with you. You know, I feel like nowadays boxers are almost doing themselves a disservice by not promoting themselves, you know, outside of the boxing ring, because only so many people are going to be watching your fights. But if you're on social media, like take a guy like Ryan Garcia or Tank, they're constantly posting stuff and people are seeing it and getting engaged. So they have to tune into the fight or else they feel like they're missing out essentially. So that's going to do it for another Nads Fight Media video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Matt Nabong, with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. Thank you guys for the constant support. Salute to y'all always. It's been your boy.